Hello and welcome everybody back to Salem State University for our spring 2021 class semester. I hope everybody's had a safe and healthy semester break. We're going to work very hard this semester to make the class interesting for you. We're going to work on Canvas for most of the time. The classes will be broken up into weekly modules for you to work on. I know that a lot of you people are working and have other obligations and other classes. I make every effort to give you time to get the assignments in there. The one thing that's going to happen is that we need to communicate all these different topics and ideas. I have chosen not to use any textbooks in the classes because the fact that we have plenty of information from the Department of Justice, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and other websites that will have the same material that if we were working on textbooks that will have the same information and work with those things there because it's going to be online. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to is meeting you, getting your responses from you, being able to work together as a team. I will be available at any time to correspond with you, either through email, through Zoom, through text, phone call, whatever we can do to make this a successful semester. First, I just want, for those of you that don't know me, I'm going to give you a little bit background as to what's going on with me, who I am, and all that sort of stuff. We're here at the School of Criminal Justice at Salem State. I'm a Salem State grad myself. When I attended here as an undergrad, is that we did not have a criminal justice course, so I ended up being an English major and became a high school English teacher and athletic trainer. I always was fascinated with policing, so I had taken the police exam when I was a junior here at Salem State. I passed the exam and I got appointed as a reserve police officer with the Danvers Police Department. So I spent 33 years with the Danvers Police Department, and I retired as a lieutenant. I had a wonderful career. For those of you that want to become a police officer, I think it's one of the best jobs in the world, even though we're going through some turmoil in the country regarding policing and defunding policing. I still think it's a very noble and worthwhile profession in doing those things. You have some of my information there. I also have that on the syllabus. The syllabus is posted in our module number 1 and also in your files and doing those there. Being from Danvers, we come from a very rich history. We had a number of incidences that happened here in Danvers, particularly when you look at in 1776 with the Revolutionary War. We had what's known as the Alarm List Company. You can see the patch for the town of Danvers, the police department, and that's one of our first responders. And with the Alarm List Company, that was a group of citizens that looked out for the community. They did drills up on the town training ground. When it came time for the Battle of Lexington and Concord, they went to that battle and fought bravely. In that battle, they suffered the most casualties, but they came back to town and with the start of that and continue to do that. In fact, the Alarm List Company still is active here in town for ceremonial things and parades and all that sort of stuff. One other thing that happened in Danvers was also in 1692 when we had the witch trials. That's a kind of a mark where the Danvers was part of Salem, and the trials happened here in Danvers, up in the Highlands section of town. When they were wrongly convicted, they were brought to Salem, where they were hung and squashed and all that sort of stuff there. And so it's kind of another part of history. We have a lot of things that go on there. If you look at the Salem Police Department, is that their logo is the witch, and the witch city. We know from Halloween and all that, the other side of witches and all that. But The interesting thing about the Salem Police Patch is it's copyrighted. It's so popular throughout the world in doing those things. The one thing that we have here in Danvers, we have a monument to the witches and the witch trials, and that monument is up in the Highlands section of town where the actual trials occurred, and the names there of the victims, the 19 victims that were wrongly convicted and killed. One thing that we look at now with the classes that you're taking here at Salem State and the Criminal Justice Department is that we now know the value of everybody is innocent until proven guilty. The fact that people have rights, that people have rights to lawyers, and all those types of things there. So just a little bit of history for us there regarding that. Danvers is a great town to live in. It was a great town to work in, and doing those things. As a member of the police department, I started out as a reserve police officer while I was still continued teaching. Then I had the opportunity to become a full-time officer. Went to the academy and became a patrol officer. As a rookie officer, you always start out mostly on the shift. So I started out working 1 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the morning, walking a beat in the downtown area. One thing that happens with particularly here that you criminal justice students is that even though the patrol officer is the backbone of the community, those of you that have the desire to move on, there's unlimited opportunities in police departments. Listed below there, some of the positions that I had on the police department. I was a crime prevention officer that takes the essence of community policing, partnerships and problem solving and dealing with preventing crime. And also being able to make people aware that they could be the possible victim of crime, doing what's known as target hardening to residences and buildings, municipal buildings and private buildings and commercial buildings to reduce the chance of them becoming a victim of crime. I was also a safety officer and school resource officer dealing with that. First response is an integral part of policing. I was a first aid CPR instructor, also as an EMT. One thing that keeps police departments going is money, and one thing that's available both state and nationally are grants. I became a grant writer using my Salem State education in dealing and providing $1.45 million in extra revenue for training and equipment for the police department. I was a photo ID officer. That means going out into the field for document various crimes, whether it be a motor vehicle collision, breaking and entering, suicide, homicide, crime scene, all those types of things there, and working with those. I was also an elder protection officer. Particularly nowadays, our elders are very vulnerable to scams and to be taken advantage of. And elder protection officers is a very, very prominent position on police departments nowadays. Another thing that we initiated here in Danvers was crime analysis and mapping, looking at the prevention of crime, looking at crime patterns, all those types of things there. I became the accreditation manager for the Commission on Law Enforcement Accreditation, where the town and the department met certain standards that are recognized nationally as the gold standard for police departments. You have in your files the policies and procedures that I helped to develop, and all those types of things there. For preventing it, also, again, looking at safety. I was a passenger safety instructor, worked with the town and the citizens on traffic advisory, developing safe speed zones and crosswalks, all those types of things, working with the downtown merchants to improve the quality of life in town, working with the employees within the town for safety. Also, I was an instructor at the Municipal Police Academy up in Boylston. With the recruit academies. We look at other things that happen there. At policing, we do age. That's me as a rookie police officer, as a junior and senior at Salem State University, working part-time as a police officer. I then was promoted to sergeant. And sergeant, you take on the responsibilities of supervising a shift. I was in charge of the 5 o'clock at night to 1 o'clock in the morning shift for 25 years. And doing those, I also had some things. That's me. One thing, the sergeant, is that you set the example. That's me going into a homicide where a domestic violence, a husband murdered his wife in front of their 7-year-old child. Horrible, horrible things that happen, but you need to take charge. I then became more administrative. I became a lieutenant in charge of the patrol and operations, and then became in charge of community services. We worked and still are accredited both nationally and state accreditation. That occurs every 3 years. You go through a review of your department, the policies and procedures, and looking at those. So a lot of opportunities that you have. I had a wonderful career. After I retired, I still stayed involved a little bit in policing, became an assistant harbor master, went out on patrol. That's a 25-foot patrol boat that does that. We also had a 19-foot justice boat to patrol the harbor with the vessels and the yacht clubs that are around there. Those of you that have been or are members of the military, you have my profound thanks for your service to the country. And all those of you that are actively involved in police, fire, and EMS, emergency services, please let me know when you do your personal profile. Again, we're forever grateful for your services in doing those things. One thing with our criminal justice program is there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you have a question, please ask it. Again, as I can't emphasize enough, I'm available for you. Please, if something you don't understand, ask me. I will explain it in doing that. Another concept in policing, when they become involved in police, the courts of corrections, is that once you take that oath, there is absolutely no way to do the wrong thing. No right way to do the wrong thing. There's things in policing and corrections and courts that are always right, no matter what anybody says. And there's things that are always wrong, no matter anybody says. And this is where we're going to get into ethics. You have a tremendous ethical and moral value when you take the oath for your job in criminal justice systems. The other thing that I always emphasize as a police officer is that you work for your community. They don't work for you. And in doing that is that you have to be willing to give your best before you expect it of anyone else. And that's a thing that you have to live by in those types of things there. And lastly is that we never forget. We never forget those that have sacrificed for us to keep us safe. So that's a brief wrap up. I'm looking very forward to seeing your responses and your answers and your observations and all that. So I can't wait to get the class started and to hear back from you. In the meantime, again, be safe out there, be healthy out there, and let's have a nice semester together and get this semester behind us, and looking forward to a good time and good memories from this class. Take care.